Internet, and welcome to Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9001. I am your host, SneakyDevil, and prepare yourself. For today, we shall embark upon a journey that battles your soul, that will scorch your mind. And not in the good ways. Not in the good ways. So,
we're gonna get a lot more reading done because it's just me and Sneaky.
Yeah, because Max is the reason why we take so long to read.
Yes, absolutely. He's not here. We can blame it all on him.
I mean, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong. What's up with the microphone? What do you mean, what's up with the microphone? You can't be like, what's up with the microphone? And then not tell me what's wrong with the microphone, because I can't hear myself. As much as you guys think so, I don't like the sound of my own voice. So I don't listen to myself. I don't know if anyone's realized that yet or not, but I don't listen to myself. I'll drop in at some point. Well, Curl Room might jump in at some point. Well, that's good.
I mean,
Sneaky, you sound muffled.
Aha! I wasn't crazy.
Fucking damn it, I think Windows had an aneurysm again. Boop, boop. Oh, wow. Jesus. What the fuck? Okay.
What? What was wrong?
I am not even showing up on like a single bar for the microphone.
Oh. Did the input get turned way down or something?
Okay, testing? Nope. Fuck that. Testing. 1, 2.
Very
Hello.
quiet.
Hello.
Oh, that's better.
Am I louder now?
Yes. To me. Whether or not chat thinks so.
Am I at 100% volume for you?
No. I have you at 44%.
Alright, so what you're saying is I should definitely be louder for everyone else than if you, am I at 44%, you're saying I'm louder.
Correct. Go ahead. Really make their ears bleed, boss.
Chat! Can you hear me, chat? Better, not as good. Damn it! How about now?
Better. For me. Oh, that was so much static.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, it's just, painful. That voice you're doing, I mean.
What's wrong with my voice?
I can just leave.
That's fair. Alright.
Apparently my mic is still terrible, Sneaky.
I mean, yeah, it got worse again. I don't know what you did.
I did nothing. I did nothing. I didn't even take the headset off.
Well, you did something. Anyway, so now that everyone can hear me, apparently A-OK-ish? Question mark. I sound. Wait, do I sound like a 2010 Let's Play, or does Atin sound like a 2010 Let's Play?
He said sound, so I assume he meant you. He said sound, so I assume he meant you.
Alright. Well, then, let's just continue. So, also, C8, make sure that I'm at max volume. 'Cause, maybe you just have me turned down on the Twitch page. Just throwing that out there. So, today on Fanfiction.net, as always, I provide links in the Discord down below. Do not harass or at any point in time contact the authors featured here. Harry Potter breaking free. I know I'm still on the splash screen. Don't get up on my grill. Come on. Why you do this to me, game? There we go. Now drop this. Boom! Boom! Suck shit. Alright, reset the sync counter to a whopping 0, so you can all get the real-time disregard of life, liberty, and happiness of these authors. It's 5 minutes into the stream. Harry Potter breaking free. After meeting with Dumbledore, a lot of things don't make sense, so Harry goes to goblins for help, gets his inheritance, and breaks free. So,
I don't know where everyone gets this idea that the goblins would be helpful.
Yeah. So, there's actually this really good story. Called shit. What is it called?
Fabulous.
Sympathetic beings? Something like that. Hold on. Sympathetic properties. And it does have helpful goblins in it, but it's like, we're helping you because we're charging you like a 15% tax on all transactions you do and shit like that. It's like, because they're making massive profit out of what Harry's doing, they're like, yeah, we'll help you. So it's not like... Also, it's a great story, by the way. 100% recommend it. 500,000, Jesus Christ, 500,000 words.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so great Harry Potter story. Highly recommend. Sympathetic properties, great story. No, Harry Crow's like Robst is like a staple of the Harry Potter fandom, but Robst is also like cancer when it comes to writing compelling Harry Potter stories. Like, his stories are good if you want to read a Harry Potter times Hermione feel-good fic. Otherwise, it's crap. But anyway. So this is actually a common trope in the Harry Potter genre, in which Harry goes to the goblins and is like, yo, hey, gobs! Just give me that blood test that's completely fanon. And they're like, yo, yeah, I know, right? It's this really cool blood test that none of you wizards ever ask about. But good on you for noticing, because you just got like 30 bajillion volts unlocked. Because the wizard world is inbred. I guess that works out for you, doesn't it? Haha. Also, I love it when authors are like, oh yeah, there's literally millions of galleons in the galleons?
I'm gonna call them chocolate gold coins from now on.
There's millions of gold coins in circulation in a population of less than 10,000 people. Yeah, no. Like, I understand, like, Rowling didn't quite really get how money works, and was trying to be like, look at wizards, they're so kooky. Their money denomination systems are prime numbers. It's like, okay, that's neat, Rowling, I guess. Noodlehammer? Noodlehammer is glorious. I used to talk with him for quite a while. But anyway, as I was saying, um, so there's a trope going around of, and I don't know how it's still alive because so many people have dunked on it, but there's a trope going around in which Harry Potter goes to the goblins and somehow ends up learning that his key is being misused by the Wesleys, and they're taking all the money from his accounts, and that Dumbledore is stealing from him. And so he takes a blood test, and it turns out he's related to all the supers. Like he's related to all the dead families, and unlocked like all of the original vaults, and has 10 bajillion golds now. And this is usually where it deviates. So you have your marriage contract fix, where it's like, well, Harry Potter never met this person before, but I really want to ship them together. So when Harry Potter was unlocking his vaults, he had a marriage contract that also became applied to him, written 15,000 years ago and never fulfilled. And shit like that.
Jesus, not one of these stupid things.
Well, I don't know if it's this sort of story. I'm just saying, like, these are the delineations of like where it goes. And then there's also the Harry Potter finds out that his vault's a trust vault, and then it gets refilled. Like I've seen this a couple times. By a couple, I mean dozens. And it gets refilled at the end of every year. So he takes all the money out of it and puts it into a different vault. And so he just does that for 7 years. And then he's like got a bajillion's monies as well now. And it's like, there's also ones where Harry gets the inheritance test done, he opens up all these vaults, and then the gums are like, you own 75% of the wizarding world because of all these unclaimed properties. And then Harry's like, wahaha, I own all the wizarding world now, wahaha. It's just really cringe.
Here's the thing, right? When people are like, they have billions of dollars of gold coins, they actually would.
I know.
Because of how insular the wizard society is, they would have such a, relatively speaking, small amount of money. It's like, that's one of the things people never consider economically with, say, elves. You have to be really, really careful, because in this case it's the same thing because of how long they live. You have to be stupid careful how much money you print. Because, because the guy who gets $20 today, assuming nobody knifes him in an alley, he's gonna be here for another 500 years.
Well, 150. But yeah.
I know, but like you said, he's gonna be there for another 150 years.
Yeah, but no. See, the thing also is that they were described as large as hubcaps, and in Britain, the smallest hubcap, while it's significantly smaller than U.S. hubcaps, the smallest hubcap in Britain is around like closed fist size of around a 6-foot man. That's still a big fucking hubcap for gold to be made out of.
Gold, solid gold.
Look. I know you guys don't believe me, but literally, Atin and I were talking 30 minutes earlier, and his mic was perfectly fine. So for whatever reason, his mic just gets worse for this podcast. Yeah, and we also did we did the math some time ago for a typical American hubcap, but even like the smallish British hubcap is still around 75 to 100 times in higher value versus the equivalency that Roland gave. And it's just like the Rowling knows jack shit. Like there's a meme going around. I don't know how old the meme is, but it's like Rowling wrote Harry Potter as if she had the knowledge of a witch that went to Hogwarts. So basically nothing on economics and no real knowledge of anything outside of Britain. Or however it goes. But still, it's This story is only 32,000 words and has around 732 favorites. And the newest review is, I love to see more of this. You're an amazing writer that writes work of art.
Look, whenever I see stuff like that, I feel like someone was paid to write it. Like,
Yeah,
is there
right,
some kind of people going around saying, "Give me $50 and I'll write a glowing review on
there's just
fanfiction"?
like really low IQ people who see this sort of stuff and just go, "Wow, this is the best thing I have ever seen." Emoji face, smiley face, emoji face 100, emoji thumbs up, emoji check mark. Like, yeah, no, there's people, there's literally just stupid people out there that have no concept of quality that are just like, wow, this complete fucking dumpster fire is amazing.
I mean, people like mine and Max's story, and they like your story, so I can't contest that statement.
Exactly. Yeah. I got like 500 people saying they like my story, and I'm just sitting here like, this is a fucking train wreck. I did so many things wrong. Why are you people saying you like it? But anyway, on to the actual story. When Vision came into focus, he found himself in an infirmary. But instead of well-lit Hogwarts infirmary, with its high vaulted ceilings and tall windows running parallel with the beds. What? Windows running parallel with the beds. What?
Don't ask me, I got no idea.
Harry Potter found himself in what appeared to be a dungeon equivalent of an infirmary. Instead of light pouring in through the windows, the only source of light was several braziers, and in the ceiling was much lower, probably about 8 feet high. Another difference between the Hogwarts infirmary and Harry's current location was that the door, wow, smaller than the door at the entrance of the Hogwarts infirmary, was much grander, covered in gold, rubies, and what Harry vaguely recognized as runes.
Of course. Of course the goblins have an infirmary in their goddamn bank.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, the bank is also the entirety of the Goblin Country.
Yes.
And so it would make sense they also have food and deeper tunnels for beds and shit. No, not parallel to the beds, parallel with the beds. D8.
Which I'm not sure how that would work.
Also, stop describing the whole of Facebook. What was I describing before? Oh, stupid people, right, yeah. The young Potter immediately began to panic, as he had no idea how he arrived in the dungeon infirmary. Several thoughts began to run wild through his
The
mind.
Dungeon Infirmary!
From
Why does that sound like a shitty indie game?
Yes. Where am I? To shit! Voldemort's captured me. And just as he was about to start hyperventilating, there was a soft trill echoed through the small room. This trill caused the Potter air to calm down and his mood to lighten. Looking around, Harry expected to see the red and gold plumage of the headmaster's phoenix. The multiple headmasters, interesting. However, they're sitting on a perch next to his hospital
Well, you see,
bed.
what you don't realize is this is another Harry Potter's a Christian story, so it's there's three of him, just like the Holy Spirit.
Of course. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a really good young adult story now. We should copyright that.
What are you on about?
funky teenager goes to insert religious high school here, private, of course, and learns that their headmaster is actually God and has to help him keep the secret.
But no, you know what? Let's appeal to some of the Asian viewers. It'll be a bunch of high school girls, and God's a pervert,
Of course.
which is why he originally made people.
Exactly.
But will also appeal to the left. God will be an equal opportunity.
No, see, that won't appeal to the left. That'll appeal to the right. The left is all about having matriarchy and trans disabled black people. That's what the left is about. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, are we really doing this, author?
Doing what?
Instead, it was a phoenix with a pure white chest and black crest and wingtips. The phoenix's eyes, however, were a stormy gray color, which showed the immortal being's intelligence. Apparently, this author has something against apostrophes to indicate possessive form, and they just don't know what a possessive form is. Apparently, yeah. After staring into each other's eyes for what could have been minutes or hours, a voice was projected into the young Poota's mind. Greetings, my Harry. Are you well? What? Who are you? Where am I? The Phoenix, feeling the young human start to panic, trilled softly a small note, whilst saying, "Be at peace, my human. We are underground."
What is this thing? An angel? Because they're literally using the language of the Bible.
Get ready. We are underground where the small things work, and I am your familiar owl turned phoenix, Hedwig. No, C8, you're completely missing the point of a young adult novel. A young adult novel has completely outlandish and improbable scenarios in which the main character has to A, keep a secret from his friends or family, or she I guess, and then also or pines after someone that they are hopelessly in love with and then eventually get with by either the mid or end of the book. Also, hi, Isaac. Small things? Underground? Harry questioned. This left two possibilities. The least likely possibility was dwarves! Who are renowned for their solitude and haven't willingly let a human into the vast underground kingdoms since the time of the founders. That needs to be capitalized, dumbass. The most probable answer being the goblins most likely underneath Gringotts Bank. But the young Potter heir just caught on to what else the immortal being said. Hedwig? But Hedwig's an owl. I would have noticed if I had a phoenix familiar for the past 5 years. I have only recently ascended into a phoenix, my Harry. Semicolon.
I'm sorry, ascended.
Well, he didn't actually write that. He said transformed, but it's basically ascended.
Yes. In fact, I find ascension less irksome than I find ascended less irksome than transform.
Yeah, honestly. I do not know what caused my ascension either. At this point, the doors were slammed open, and half a dozen goblin warriors decked out in plate and steel marched in and lined up along the walls. Goblin warriors used Roman-style armor instead of heavy plate and chainmail armor as they used during medieval times. So, leather, scale, and chain? The armor of the goblin warriors wore a variation of the Lorigakia segmentata, as it provides cover for the torso of the goblins whilst giving the wearer a lot of mobility. The difference between the Roman armor and goblin armor is that goblins covered the correct form of their armor in several dozen rooms. Following the goblin warriors was a proud and regal goblin, and was half a foot taller than the goblin warriors, and wore, strangely enough, a muggle, aka non-magical, business suit. Oh, because Harry Potter fans don't know what muggle means. Thank you, author. And a large crown with the crest of Gringotts, a galleon, a sickle, and a nut. And the several rubies are embedded into the golden crown. Author's note: look at the Dragon Age Origins Dwarven King crown. And author's note. The Goblin King gave a toothy smile when it saw that the young Potter heir was awake, which scared the teenager more than it encouraged. Ah, Mr. Potter, awake at last, I see. Yes, sir, I am, came Harry's reply, the author still unable to comprehend the existence of the apostrophe, thinking it would be best to be respectful, considering he wasn't sure how he got there, so thinking being nice couldn't hurt. Apparently you did find out what an apostrophe was, you just don't know how to use it. Okay.
Oh well.
A light frown appeared on the Goblin King's face as he asked, "You don't remember me, do you, Mr. Potter?" When Harry shook his head in the negative form, the Goblin continued, "Do you remember what happened when we met, Mr. Potter?" A sudden pain at the thought of his godfather Cyrus Black falling into the Vale of Death in the Apartment of Mysteries flashed through Harry's mind.
I gotta say, the Apartment of Mysteries sounds much more interesting than the Department of Mysteries. I feel like the Apartment of Mysteries is something you'd get from like a Dresden book.
Which is far superior, yes.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, I can see it now. Cheesy title and all. Harry Dresden and the Apartment of Mysteries. And the entire time, Harry's just going, "What the fuck is this? Why am I in a shitty pulp novel?" And it's like, like you've got like the Scooby-Doo door. You open it up, takes you to the other side of the hallway.
And you're like, wait a second, I just opened this door.
Yeah. What else do we have in the Apartment of Mystery?
It's the never.
Chat, help us out here.
Well, what's Dresden?
Oh dear. It is
a more mature
probably
take on the modern magical themes, and basically the staple of how you're supposed to handle magic in modern
and I would say,
setting.
yeah, I would say probably one of the best books for modern magicians.
Yeah. Hands down, probably one of the best interpretations. Now, I was always a little bit partial to Wizards at War. The Wizards at War series, because I just really liked the idea of accidentally an entire species into existence. But
yes. Well, yeah, I would say, and here's the thing, right? I'll certainly admit, especially with many of the earlier books, the writing can be a little bit weak. The characterizations are a little
Yeah.
But that being said, the first book is still quite good. And you can definitely tell that the author gets better as he goes.
Yeah, no, the Dresden series is pretty good. Yeah.
Certainly, if you're looking for, I think it's at 13 books right now, and everybody's waiting on the 14th. But I will say that the later books are also long books.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we're at 15 actually. The last one released in 2014. It's been going since 2000.
Oh, right. No, because I remember there was a short story collection. It just came out a little while ago.
Skin Game.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know if it's still going or not. But
No. I was
If you
say,
don't want to read it, there is also a TV show called The Dresden Files.
the TV show was actually pretty good. I still recommend reading them.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but some people don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and read 13 books. Good. Here's a Ropst classic. This is actually from Ropst. Lord Ragnarok being the leader of the Goblin Nation in Gringotts. That is actually something, as far as I'm aware. It's an original character created by Ropst, because he has goblins heavily involved in most of his stories, and his most famous one, Harry Crow, basically coined how the goblins operate for a large portion of the
I think Europe's trying to talk, but
I was just sneaking in. I wasn't saying nothing. I was waiting for a time to
no. I'm saying, unfortunately for you, it's impossible to sneak into Discord because whenever someone joins, there's a little noise.
No, I was like, well, you guys were in the middle of something. I said, I'm just going to sneak on in, wait to make a nice quip, and then I was revealed.
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately for you, I succeeded on my spot check.
I was going to say you had some dust of revealing, but I mean, yeah, so you could be a Jew about it.
Had a great... You know what? I've got lucky on my character, so I'm going to re-roll your perception check, take the lower of the two, and we'll pretend this whole thing never happened.
That's not how luck works. Not even for halflings.
Anyway, so yes. Excuse me, sir, but if we had met a week ago, what am I doing here? My name is Lord Ragnarok, Mr. Potter. I still don't know how to use punctuation or apostrophes. I insist you call me Ragnarok, for the respect you have continuously shown me and my people. Oh boy. Oh my god. Harry, remember the goblin's name. Now they respect him forever.
I do love what people are trying to do with that, and they don't realize how actually denigrating that is.
That is massively denigrating. Yeah, I know. It's actually...
Like, it's hard to get much more Uncle Tom's Cabin than that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Jorp. You will learn a lot about people by the kind of Harry Potter fan fiction they write.
There is nothing wrong with that.
I mean, just to actually, you know what, in general, that goes for most fanfiction authors, because, last time we learned that a fanfic author had a foot fetish, because they specifically included, a girl from an anime in a harem, specifically because of her feet.
I'm interested. Keep going.
That's about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We will not continue to please your degeneracies.
The other members of the harem were his daughter, his sister.
Wait, his daughter is also his sister?
No, not yet.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, are we looking at a
degenerates?
Are we looking at a Harry Potter crossover here, or is this just straight up Harry Potter?
No. Yeah, last time's was a Naruto, Dark Souls, High School D times D cross.
Really? Okay.
Oh, the less we talk about that one, the better.
What do I think about Artemis Fowl? Is it worth reading? I read the first book and didn't read the rest of them. It's not that I didn't read the rest of them because I disliked the first one. I just wasn't motivated. What is this,
Artemis Fowl is
Alabama?
too much of a Mary Sue. Like the books are well written, but he's too much of a Mary Sue.
He kind of is, yeah. Kind of is. I do like, however, have you ever heard of the Wizards at War series?
I've actually
No.
never heard of them.
Alright, so the Wizards at War series actually has an interesting take on magic and why things happen in the world the way that they are. And basically their explanation is that when someone turns of age, being 18, they actually lose their magic. And the younger they are, the stronger they are in magic. And the older they get, the more they lose. And so the reason why, like, really weird shit and, like, why the heroes always win and shit, because they're, like, 10 years old and crap. And, I mean, nearing the end of books, they're becoming 15 and crap, and it moves on to be like, oh, we're trying to get the next generation ready, basically. And, it's like, well, why are the things doing, like, why does the system work like this? It's like, well, you see, because very short period of time, like a 10-year period of time, that people can even be involved in the magical world. And so everything's basically chaotic, and the youngest people control everything because they're the strongest.
This is sounding worse and worse. Like every minute that goes by.
Yeah.
It was an interesting take on the world. It was like, oh, well, that does go a long way of explaining why they're not, like, basically gods controlling everything. Because, like, that's if you don't want a dark take, that's basically how Harry Potter should have gone. Like Dresden does a dark take, and it's like, well, these are all these negatives are the reason why.
Oh yeah,
Wizards
that
have
was
to
actually something I
hide.
wanted to ask. What is your opinion on Dresden? Because we actually had someone in here who's like, "What's a Dresden?"
Oh
Oh,
wait, his
I love the
opinion?
Dresden Files.
Yeah, Dresden probably good.
Now that's classic. That's something anybody can stand behind.
Ursula K. Le Guin. Who the f is that?
That's
Yeah.
Ursula K. Le Guin, obviously.
I'll lagoon you.
Take me down to Laguna Beach
I'll take you down to Paradise City.
where the grass is green.
And the girls are pretty.
That's what I've heard.
Let's see. Here we go. Critical Attention. The Wizard of Earthsea. Never heard of that. Left Hand of Darkness. Never heard of that. You're just quoting a shitload of stories I have never even heard of existing. So congratulations, C8.
Yeah, I'm looking at her too. I'm on the Wikipedia page. You got like The Farthest Shore and Tales from Earthsea, and she really likes Hayao Miyazaki, but I don't know any of these.
I've
I mean,
never.
I know Miyazaki, but
Yeah. Well, it says here that she wanted Miyazaki to direct an Earthsea movie if there was one, but I don't believe that ever came to fruition.
Not as far as
Influenced
I
by
know.
feminist writers such as Virginia Woolf. Well, now I know why I've never read her stories.
Great feminist writers like Ayn Rand.
Oh, Ayn Rand.
I like Ayn Rand, and I think she is a good feminist icon. That they'll never admit that, but
No, they'll never. Anyway, so we got the friendly goblins who are here to suck Harry's dick because they remembered their name once.
yes.
And then another flash of pain tore through his mind, and he remembered everything. Flashback.
also just once I'd like to get an author who's just like, Harry didn't know any of this because none of it had ever happened. Like, for once, can we get something where it's like none of this bullshit mind-wiping nonsense? Like, I understand
Okay,
mind wipes
no,
exist in the Harry Potter universe, but
So, unrelated but sort of related, I actually read an extremely good Pokemon story that did in fact end with the theme that literally Ash's entire journey was in fact just a coma dream. But he still woke up in the Pokemon world. Like, the whole Pokemon thing wasn't a dream. It was literally just him going through, beating all the gym leaders, and then winning the Indigo League was the coma dream.
ooh,
Oof.
ouch.
So when he wakes up, what part is he at the beginning
So
of his
when he
journey?
wakes up, he's still a failure.
And then when he wakes up, he literally only has Pikachu still. because
Ah.
he apparently had gone into a coma from that time when Pikachu shocked him during the thunderstorm.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so that's where it left off at canon, and then the story though in actuality had continued from there, and then the last chapter the author was just like, and Ash woke up, coming out of the coma, and Pikachu isn't his friend and shit, and he never met Brock and Misty, and like it was genuinely depressing to read that fic.
Well, now that I'm genuinely depressed myself, I'm gonna go cut myself in shame.
Okay, good. One less person in the world.
One less person to write shitty fanfics.
No, wait. You gotta finish Migrant Caravan first. That's an
I
excellent
do. I know. I've got
fanfic.
to sit down. I literally just got back last night from my trip, so I got to sit down and do chapter 2. Figure add some kind of other crossover in there, make it really spicy.
Okay, so clearly what you should add in there is a crossover with One Direction.
Like One Direction, like the boy band.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know anything about them.
Neither does anyone else that writes fanfic for them.
Okay.
Like, no, you don't understand
I figure.
how much gay fic there is for One Direction. Like, there
I was
is...
about to say, I'd imagine the whole like fan fiction world around them is just like each one of them sucking each other off, like ad infinitum.
And like there is 2 stories for the one
It's
for
what's
most
known as the Devil's Square, because
Yeah.
there's 4 of them.
Basically, there's 2 forms of stories for real person fan fiction, also called RPF. And I hate RPF with a burning passion. I think anyone who writes RPF should die. But there's 2 kinds of stories for RPF of One Direction. And the first kind of story is just gay orgy, where it's, some teenage girl living out her fantasies about One Direction all blowing each other and doing, like...
And throwing her in the mix, don't forget that.
No, that's the other one. The other form of story is the girl self-inserting herself into the fic, and then it either goes where she dates all of them and can't choose which one to stay with, or she has the harem of all of them, or there's also a gay orgy, but they invite her because she's special. And most
See,
honestly,
the thing that bothers me about it is that, like, fine, you want to take a non-real character, do whatever you want. Like, you're not really hurting anyone with a non-real character.
Oh, C8 Redwall. Ooh.
You ever
Ooh.
notice how that's totally cool with like when girls do it? Like, oh yeah, I did my fic. I had sex with all the members of One Direction. But imagine if like you wrote a fic where you had sex with the Olsen twins. They'd be all over you. Like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, that or like, what's the Japanese pop group that has like 48 members or something?
Hi, Puffy Amiyumi?
I don't know.
I don't pay attention to Japan at all, so I wouldn't know. But
I'm pretty sure that's not it. They did the Teen Titans theme song.
I was gonna say, did they do Teen Titans, which was actually a pretty good theme song?
It was really good. But no, Noodlehammer actually brought this up at one point in one of his author notes, I believe, is that he was getting a lot of people, because he kind of got really popular in the Naruto and Harry Potter sections for his fanfics, and his interesting depictions of women in them. And he actually got a lot of flack in his reviews from women, and his response was at one point like, just like, you guys like write real person fan fiction where you insert yourself into a male harem, so you really don't have any room to comment on how I handle this, because I am writing about fictional characters while you are writing about actual people with actual lives and actual relationships
and actual preferences.
Yeah, and how they're instead discarding all that. Because, unlike fictional canon where you can be like, well, it's just words on a page, so I'm going to adjust some of this. I personally, this is why I hate RPF a little bit more. It's because you don't know that person at all. You don't know that person besides their public face. Unless they're fucking streaming 24/7. You even then, that's basically a public face 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, the Joe rep that you see streaming here, boy, I almost doxed myself again. Is vastly different from the Joe rep you see at home.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, let's be honest. We would all hope that.
You would be immensely shocked how I am in real life compared to how I'm on stream. I talk about 1/10 as much.
Oh God, he hates talking.
Like, Max and Atin will sometimes have full conversations where I'll have one-word answers for them or grunts, just to show I'm still listening to them.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the fun. We play characters.
Sometimes we literally have to ask, "Did Sneaky die?"
Yeah. So it's like I do not talk as much. I am as opinionated. I am as upfront. You know.
Well,
but,
I mean, arguably you're less upfront because you speak less. But
yeah. But you know,
it's not like I'm biting my tongue. It's just I ain't talking.
I'm not motivated to say anything. Yeah. But it's you know like this real person fan fiction. I got into an argument with someone on fanfic. This is relevant on the fanfiction.net Discord. I actually got in an argument with someone about this, and they were defending the ability to write real person fanfiction. And I was just like, how can you defend this?
What were they defending?
Real person fanfiction. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna write a story about Atin and me having sex together, because he's gay now because I said so. But don't worry, gay's not a choice, guys. But just remember, gay's not a choice. But I'm saying he's gay even though he's not. And we're gonna have sex, and it's gonna be a bunch of sex, and he's a bottom, and I really like it. I'm also gonna post it on the internet, so everyone can read it too. It's like,
I mean, and here's the thing, right? I even hate historical fiction. Well, let me phrase that. I hate historical autobiography.
yeah. I
mean, I don't
like
necessarily mind historical
stuff.
fiction where it's we took someone and slapped them in this time period. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I like the AU fiction. Like, what if Germany successfully took over Britain before the U.S. could get involved in World War II?
Yeah, or like a fantastic one. Fantastic Man in the High Tower. That's an amazing book.
Yeah. But it's like writing real person like this is actually a thing that happened. Is you guys know Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, YouTubers?
I've heard of them.
Alright,
I feel like I've heard of them. They're kind of small time, ain't they?
They're like in the top 5 of like YouTubers, up there with like PewDiePie and Casey Neistat and.
No, I know.
Pre Dickweed era of the what brothers are that? The
Fine.
The Paul brothers?
No, those two fucking douchebags with the douchebag haircut.
The Paul brothers?
Yeah, the Paul brothers. Yeah. The Jake Paul and Paul.
Logan Paul.
There we go, Logan Paul. Yeah, but before them. So this is actually a thing that happened, and like Markiplier actually had to make a video about this. Is his fandom is obviously tween girls, which I mean is understandable, being that he has decent looks, a nice voice, and is publicly very friendly. He sometimes did co-videos with another person, Jacksepticeye, who is less publicly friendly and more cursy and Irish, but similar in looks to Markiplier, and they both had the whole colored hair thing for a while. Markiplier was red, Jacksepticeye was green, and this was a problem that emerged back when I still watched them, so like 2 years ago. Is that because of his fan base's age, there was a lot of real person fan fiction and fan art that had Jacksepticeye and Markiplier in sexual positions with each other. And, you know, at first it was kind of just really creepy, being that they basically knew nothing about these people besides the fact that they made YouTube videos they liked. And then it, like, turned into real-world harassment, and where Markiplier's girlfriend got death threats and shit because people were saying she was getting in the way of their OTP, the one true pairing of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. Like, they legitimately believed that Mark and Jack would have gay sex with each other, even though they're both straight with girlfriends. And they harassed and sent death threats to those girlfriends.
Well, I mean, Sneaky, here's the thing. It doesn't even have to be people that are attractive. For crying out loud, people drew it of Jesse Cox and Total Biscuit. Like, there's a lot of it that was joking, and, like, it was, like, when it cropped up, it was funny, because they would joke about it. Like, oh, did you see the latest picture of us? Or whatever. But there were some of it where people were, like, trying to draw it seriously, and it's like, no. You stop that.
Yeah, it's just like, that's why I despise real person fanfiction. And I understand, like, saying you're not allowed to do it's not going to change jack shit. I just hate with a passion. Not as much as pedophilia, but it's really damn close to pedophilia. The idea.
Now, YouTube gets serious.
Yeah. It is something I'm actually exceedingly angry about. That people will sit there and be like, non-jokingly, of course, hyper serious, 100%, just sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take these two people I don't know, and or insert me into this, and just write about how we're having a sexual relationship with each other. Like, that is the height of being fucking creepy as shit. That is fucking disturbing shit. You know, teenage girls are the worst kind of cancer. They really are. They absolutely are.
Okay, Sneaky, it's really not any more cancerous than a bunch of teenage boys jerking off to the latest supermodel. It's just a different kind of it.
Yes, but
At least they do it alone in the comfort of their own room and with nobody else involved.
I mean, not if you listen to Lord of the Nose Hair, apparently.
Yeah. Nose hair is special. But no, like, the difference, though, between fanboys being fanatical and shit about their dumb crap or whatever, their waifus or whatever, it's that they're not real people. And yeah, I get it, that there's Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers out there that are basically boob cam streamers, where they just put the fucking camera on their boobs to get desperate virgin men to donate money to them, because they believe
Twitch has cracked down on that a lot, dude.
I know, but it's still a thing. And, like, I still recognize it as being a thing. Like, there is still a demographic of people that believe
it's a pretty small demographic, though.
Yes. There's also a very small demographic that writes gay orgies of a bunch of straight people because they're fans of them.
That's true.
But there's still a demographic of people that literally just sit there and watch cam girls donating money to them because they have some delusion of somehow being seen as special by that cam girl and somehow getting her as a girlfriend or some shit someday. And that's
I was gonna say it's pretty much the old you fell in love with it. It's literally you fell in love with a prostitute. That's literally
What I'm getting is we should just release a neurotoxin that wipes out autism, like people with autism.
No,
I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure you've gone third right.
But no, it's like the difference there though is even I really doubt they're writing fan fiction. But even if they are, I highly doubt they're publishing it. I highly doubt it has 3,000 favorite. Like, I'm honestly gonna go to the One Direction section right now.
Please don't.
Nope, it's happening.
God, I hate you.
Where would I even find it?
You can't make me look at this. I'm looking away from the stream.
Yeah.
To the One Direction section.
I don't even know where the One Direction section is located.
Maybe it doesn't exist on fanfiction.net.
Oh, it exists.
Oh, no, it exists. A One Direction one. Oh, gee, what the fuck is this? Oh my god!
I don't know if you found what I found, but I'm gonna link it in the Discord.
It's just a block of text. There's literally no paragraphs.
I found the One Direction / fanfiction channel.
Oh gee, like this is exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like, okay, yeah, like, so yeah, favorites 50, follows 50. Like they're not big. It's not a big section, but it still has a following. It still exists, and people unironically enjoy this.
Now, here's the question. Can we get the ultimate crossover, One Direction and Gundam?
I'm not even.
That actually makes sense. Like the cast of Gundam Wing was basically One Direction.
That's what I was thinking, too. Because one writes shitty music, the other was a shitty anime.
Shots fired. And
you know what? I feel comfortable taking shots at One Direction.
You thought my autism nerve gas was bad, but you just called Gundam Wing a bad anime.
Are you trying to defend Hiro Yui?
Alright, so
no, but I'll defend Troa.
Oh my god.
I love this. This is never meant to happen. Niall gets hit by a car while Harry. Niall wakes up in the hospital. His last memory of boot camp during the choreography. All memories of being famous, touring, and dating Harry are wiped away. The only person he knows is Liam. The other he recognizes as Zayn. The other two and his past are things that never happened. A nary fic.
Yeah. Fucking fangirls need to be.
All I heard was pure cancer. Like my brain, like it heard the words. I just can't remember them for my own safety.
There was only cancer in what you just said.
Sweet, beautiful cancer.
All right, so hi Nexus. You just got you just missed the juiciest part of this stream when we ranted about shitty real person fanfic and gay orgies. That's what you've missed this stream. Also, friendly goblins helping Harry out because he's such a swell guy because he remembered their name once. So, speaking of that Harry Potter story we were reading, blah 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 blah, Ministry of Magic is evil, blah 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 blah, blah, Harry is mad at people for murder, blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. Canon stuff that all happened, and he's angry at a bunch of people, and he's angry at more people, and blah blah blah, pointless exposition, literally pointless, and blah 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 blah. Oh my god, Dumbledore has control of my life. Blah blah, flashback inside a flashback to flashback, more flashbacks. I'm not even kidding. It's like a series of flashbacks inside a single flashback, flashbacking to other flashbacks about how he's realizing of all the inconsistencies in the Harry Potter series. And then blah blah blah, pointless exposition that really didn't do anything besides set up the fact that everyone might be evil and or working for Dumbledore. And then blah 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 blah, Vulture Hat, blah blah blah. I walked up to Lady Longbottom and gave a small bow and said, Miss Longbottom, we haven't been introduced, but I'm Harry Potter. I don't really understand what this whole bowing thing is from.
They're all Japanese secretly.
Was that a thing in medieval England?
England? No, medieval? No. I mean, you'd bow to a lord. Like you'd bow to the guy who could, order you killed for not doing it, but...
Yeah, I always thought bowing was, not an English thing. I mean, yeah, no, ladies curtsy and like guys do like that half like hand over the stomach kind of like bend. But like people say bow and I think of like the Japanese bow.
Yeah, we don't fucking bow in America.
There's definitely no bowing in America. That's true.
I mean, give it about a year, 2 years tops. They'll all be bowing to. Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna get political. I'm not gonna call out the UK in your stream. I'll save that for another day.
UK is getting burned.
Probably a good choice.
I mean, we can talk all about it on Tuesday in your stream.
Yeah.
I know the bend is basically what counts as a bow in the West, but it's still just like, eh. Americans shake hands or greet each other with fists. I mean, I cannot refute this statement.
I can. They've forgotten the traditional Chicago greeting.
Okay, well, no one pays
typewriter.
attention to Chicago. Only people that pay attention to Chicago is when someone wants to point out how bad Chicago is.
Well, Chicago's
No.
terrible.
Sometimes they're complimenting our fantastic cement overshoes, Sneaky.
I don't think that's a thing in Chicago, my dude. I'm pretty sure that's a boardwalk thing. It's really hard to drown someone in a
What the
city.
fuck do you think Lake Michigan got used for?
Oh yeah, like
And the canals.
I forgot you had a lake near you.
We have a lake and canals, both of which are disgusting. Like, it's depending on which part of Lake Michigan you are looking at, you might as well be trying to gaze into the abyss.
I mean, that's to be fair. The New Jersey coastline is also. I mean, Jorp can back me up on this. The New Jersey coastline is fairly questionable waters as well.
I mean, if toxic sludge is fairly questionable.
I remember one time I was canoeing with some friends down a river, and a tree hit me in the a tree branch hit my face and took my glasses, dumped them in the. I was just like, well, those glasses are gone forever. Like, I don't care how long it takes me. I'm not getting in that water. You can't pay me enough.
I mean, honestly, a lot of the water in New Jersey is fairly clean, as in you won't die from going in it. Definitely would not drink it. Do not recommend drinking or ingesting or at any point in time coming into contact with
As a
the
general
majority of the
rule,
water.
just don't drink it.
Yeah, if it's not the Delaware River, just generally don't go near it.
And that's how we learned about the water in New Jersey.
There's your education for tonight, kids. Bitch, we have lakes with crocodiles swimming in with plastic and literal shit on the head in Rio. I mean, yeah, but that's Brazil. You guys, they basically can sum up all of South America. Literal shit on their heads. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you get internet access at all from your favela. So
honestly, the U.S. should just annex everything south and north of it. Just become literally the United States of the Americas.
well, yeah, but then we'd have to have Canada.
Well, yeah, but then
Canada would be
But
fantastic
you don't
to have.
understand, though. Then we have access to all of Canada's oil.
They're not using it, are they?
No, of course not.
I mean, look, if Fallout's taught me anything, annexing Canada is a flawless idea. They can't resist.
Well, no, they don't have an army.
They don't. Honestly, if we're just in the annexing mood, we should also just annex most of Europe.
I'm not opposed.
They're not going to stop us. What do they have? A ship? A single ship?
This is not Thatcher's England anymore.
Planet America, indeed. Yeah, just annex pretty much everything that isn't Russia, China, India.
We don't want them Russian.
No, Russia actually has a military to resist an annexation. Literally, Africa can't stop us, Australia can't stop us, the Europes can't stop us. They don't have armies anymore. We
Well,
we
no,
are their army, so if we're
yeah,
gonna
we
be their
pay them.
army,
We allow them to live in these fucking socialist utopias that they've got.
yeah, like if we're gonna be their army, might as well just annex it.
Guys, we're not Fox News. Let's back it down a little bit. This is a fan fiction podcast.
I'm blaming Sneaky for this one.
No,
You're perfectly in the right too. I'm just saying.
Anyway, so it's gonna be some blah 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 more, and I'm gonna get Neville some confidence because every fanfiction ever apparently gives Neville some confidence because gotta give Neville confidence to make Harry the good guy.
You know what? How about instead of giving Neville confidence in year one, let's give him a greater gift. Let's give him competence in year one.
No, can't have confidence. No,
Sneaky. That's our next fanfiction. Neville Longbottom is given the gift of competence in year one.
What this shit, Grand Buffet? Grand Buffet just sent me a email saying, "Happy Thanksgiving. Turkey and gravy will be served all day with mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and raw oyster, chicken, pork, shrimp, sushi bar, and dessert bar." I mean, Grand Buffet is like a 5 out of 10 Chinese restaurant that is, as its name says, a buffet. It's like $8 if you go for lunch, so it's sort of worth it because the sushi is halfway decent.
Oh.
In Burlington.
Oh yeah. It was like I remember it now. We all referred to it as the place with okay sushi.
Yeah, it was like, this isn't too bad, and I can eat all I want, and except then you get like $10 into eating, and you're like, wow, this is why I don't come here, and then you forget why you don't go there, and you go there again. It's an endless cycle of forgetting why you go to Grand Buffet, and then remembering why you don't go to Grand Buffet. Code Geass, but instead of Britannia, it's America Land.
Do they not know anything about Code Geass and where that Britannian Empire originated?
Apparently. C8's proving to be pretty ignorant today. But anyway, let's continue. Blah blah blah. I'm helping Neville. Blah 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 spells. I'm blah blah blah. I'm sorry for taking Neville into a dangerous. That's all it says. I'm sorry for taking Neville into a dangerous. And being the cause of his wand snapping, which I know has great sentimental value to both of you, so the least I can do is offer to pay for a new wand. Wow, and you said that without any punctuation, too. That's like a whole paragraph of dialogue you just said without a single fucking bit of punctuation. That's fairly impressive lung capacity, to be honest. Blah blah blah. Oh, the Longbottoms and the Potters go way back. We are an alliance. Oh, well, thank you for telling me about this. What is the point of this flashback? Why is this flashback so long? Blah 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 Grangers. Blah blah blah. I'm introducing all these parent characters for some apparent reason. Blah blah blah. When are we gonna get to the end of the flashback? Blah blah blah. Pointless flashback. There is still no point to this flashback besides having the other flashbacks in it. Blah blah blah. Actually, Uncle, instead of going with you, I'm gonna go stay in the Leaky Cauldron and make my way to Privet Drive later. Whilst Vernon did not like having to come up to London for nothing, the thought of postponing the young Potter arrival at Privet Drive, and thus postponing, yes, you heard correctly, his freakishness was a tempting offer. Fine, but don't call and expect me to come down and pick you up. And with that, the Eldar male, Dursley, waddled off towards his company car. Anyway, so apparently we're still in the flashback, but he goes to the goblins several days later, and waited for the goblins to acknowledge him for several minutes until the goblin stopped sneering at him like they would to normal wizards, and asked what the young Potter heir's business was in Gringotts. "I would like to talk to someone about my account, please," Harry replied. "Name? Harry Potter, sir." The goblin's eyebrows was raised up at this, but didn't check for his scar like most wizard and witches do. "Would you mind waiting here for a minute, Mr. Potter? I don't know what a period is. I'm going to see if someone's available to meet with you." Someone. I mean, it's a mild improvement over the whole "I am your family manager" idea, but
Only a mild improvement.
But I do feel like people are sort of in the right when they do that, because it is a goblin nation, and they're serving like 10,000 people, and the goblins almost win every single time, even though apparently they can't use magic anymore.
Have we approached the blatant anti-Semitism in these goblin characters?
Yeah, the really long noses and their control of the economy, it's almost like J.K. Rowling is racist and anti-Semitic. But she can't be, because she's British, and the British have never been racist or anti-Semitic.
Ever.
Ever. Oh, hey, Bake. We're reading a Harry Potter fanfic in which the goblins are super helpful and love Harry for remembering one of their names one time, and then they help him get all of his inheritances, and the author doesn't know
I
how
was
to
gonna
use
say. So
punctuation.
what they did was they combined the anti-Semitic with Uncle Tom's Cabin to really ratchet it up.
Yes. Yeah, but more or less, yeah. Let's see. An unusual breach of etiquette when the manager King the Goblin just raced through door before bowing. The king bowed. Harry. Apologies, my lord. Wait. Okay. So what the sentence is trying to say is that the goblin who was talking to Harry raced into the room with the king in it, bowing to the king instead of setting up a meeting.
But they're stupid and don't know how to write.
Yeah. Apologies, my lord, but you asked to be notified as soon as the young Mr. Potter enters the bank. Ragnot Gringotts, the Lord King Chieftain Goblin Nation, as well as bank manager of Gringotts London branch, was unsheathing his sword, ready to order the goblin's execution for no apparent reason, before he was informed of Mr. Potter entering Gringotts. Quickly ordered the young goblin to bring Potter Air to his office.
Also, see, that's something I don't understand. Why would you be ready to perform an execution when you've already literally given instructions? Hey, if this guy shows up, come get me. Like, presumably the guards know this. So presumably the guards aren't going to let someone in. Unless it's for that reason.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put the executioner's greatsword away, buddy.
He has to sheath it to his side, don't you know?
Indeed.
God damn it.
What?
Now I just have the mental image of a magical executioner's greatsword that actually sheathes like a dagger at your side, but when you unsheath it, it like extends like an extendable baton.
That's glorious.
Oh. Harry had been waiting for 5 minutes before the goblin returned and requested that Harry meet with the bank manager. As Harry entered the goblin's office, he saw goblin weaponry placed at various points along the wall, as well as tapestries depicting goblin battles. Behind the goblin was a large bookcase of goblin that would have made Hermione drool at just the thought of all the goblin knowledge. And sat directly behind
Boy,
the desk.
Goblin Slayer took a really weird direction.
Behind the goblin, wait, hold on. And sat at the desk was a tall goblin, wearing a muggle business suit and a crown and the nameplate of Ragnarok on the desk. I mean, you really don't have to re-describe the goblin if you already described the goblin earlier, but I guess you do have to describe the goblin because you are in a flashback, which, you know, maybe you shouldn't have flashbacked it and just made it a time skip. But, you know, who am I to comment on how to write stories? I've only read over 180 million.
Doesn't actually qualify you to comment. Just
Yeah.
pointing that out.
I know. It's not like I am thoroughly expertized on flows of a story. Not actually. Don't you know, Bake? Goblins have a culture, you bigot.
I mean, that culture consists of getting stabbed in the head.
And raping people. Can't forget the rape. And blah, blah, blah. Approaching the desk, Harry bowed slightly and said, "Greetings, Lord Ragnarok! May I ask why I was brought before the Goblin King, even though I shouldn't know this information?" "We are here to discuss your insults to the Goblin Nation, Mr. Potter." The bank manager sneered at Harry. Harry's face took on a look of confusion as he said, "Insult? I am sorry, my lord. I am not sure what you mean. I have always been polite when dealing with your people." I am talking about the fact that for the last 5 years, Dumbledore has friggin' intercepted all of your mail, and you've never returned any information regarding your inheritance and a lot of other things we've mailed you about without ever checking to make sure you received it, because using owls for a mail system is incredibly intelligent and could never be intercepted. The only reason why we have not executed you at this point, Mr. Potter, is because you are Goblin Friend. Goblin Friend? Letters? I'm afraid I'm unaware of what you mean, sir, Harry replied with a frown, everything going into lowercase. Has your magical guardian not told you any of this, Mr. Potter? The Goblin King replied, with dangerous glint in his eyes. No, sir. However, my guardian is in Azkaban and now he is dead. No, Mr. Potter, I am not talking about Lord Cyrus Orion Black. I am talking about Mr. Dumbledore. He is your magical guardian and has been for the last 15 years. Author's note, I know this type of story is always done. I just want to give it a go myself and see how reviews would be. Props to the author finishing the story. Did he actually finish it? I mean, wow, he did actually finish it. But I mean, like, each chapter is around 2K words of apparently extreme nonsense and buffoonery. So I mean, yeah, it's like, hey, congratulations, 2-year-old, you colored in the page.
I mean, we haven't completed any stories, so we can't really throw much shade there, Sneaky.
I mean, I can absolutely throw shade. I mean, there's not much weight behind that shade, but I can still throw it.
Just as long as we were clear there.
Yeah. Alright, so, what do you feel like now? Hey, Jorp, what fandoms are you familiar with?
Well, there's a lot I'm familiar with, but you really got me tripping on this whole One Direction thing. I've been going through as we talk all the fantastic slash fics and learning about how Liam and Zayn might be getting it on a special vacation to Los Angeles, and the whole thing's just really gripped me in a way that I haven't been gripped since I fell in love with the brother on Hannah Montana.
Who? Let's see. We don't know that yet. Max isn't here to be suffering from that too much. Let's see. We already did Jurassic Tinker, didn't we?
I believe so.
And Taylor ends up as the giant.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was last Friday.
Yeah. Why that is not marked as such, but no, I fixed it. Let's see. We got 30 minutes left. How about a StarCraft story to kill Atin a little bit more on the inside?
I mean, I'm not really that invested in StarCraft, so go ahead.
I said a little. Unlimited Bandana Works was I wanted to stab myself in the eye. Yeah. They're both bad. They're both awful. But anyway, so here we go. We got Kerrigan's Child, StarCraft 2
Oh,
edition.
not one of these.
Oh dear.
God, these are always dumb.
Kerrigan always wanted child and one with Jim, but she can't have children since she is infested. What happens when opportunities that were once forgotten?
Okay, that's blatantly untrue.
Yeah. What happens when opportunities that were once forgotten come to light as she finds she can have child? But
She can have child?
She can have child. But can she protect her child from her enemies? And will Jim accept the child?
Goddamn Kerrigan, she literally becomes the queen of the universe. I think she's fine.
Or in her own words, queen bitch of the universe.
I'm talking about when she ascended to godhood.
Oh, I mean, that's so, I guess.
Literal godhood.
Yeah. Yes,
and when she realizes she's with child, a literal Zerg rush of potential fathers comes in the door.
I hate you.
The father was secretly... Oh, who's the guy who comes back? Russian guy.
Oh, Stukov.
Stukov, we need the best crib ever. You must construct additional pylons.
No. Reiner's raising the child, and then Stukov comes in. It's like, give me my child back.
No, I am the father.
Tassadar is running the you're not the father.
God damn it! I hate you.
Friend Raynor, you are not the father.
The other contestants, it's a fucking Zergling.
No, it's Tychus Finley, a Zergling. Stukov.
You mean this is StarCraft 2 post
No, and Arcturus Banks is in there.
Well,
and Jim just looks at her. She's like, look, the hate sex was great.
I'm saying if this is StarCraft 2 and post Wings of Liberty, it would be Tychus Finley's corpse.
You know what? I searched pregnant Kerrigan on Google, and instead of getting images of pregnant Kerrigan, all I get is Kerrigan porn.
I mean, you should probably be grateful for that.
Will Jim accept the child or help Kerrigan, or will he reject it? I don't know.
I mean, given that having a baby with her has been pretty much James Raynor's life.
How is there 100 chapters of nearly 500k words and only 400 favorites? There is 140 more reviews than favorites. Oh, story abandoned.
So, what I'm hearing is we need to go write the James Raynor is not the father.
Hey everyone, I'm not dead. I've just been dedicated to my studies as learning 2 different programming languages for the first half of my Cert 4 course. It is only 1 semester. I promise I will totes make a new chapter before the end of April. Before the end of April. Before the end of April. Last updated March 26th. Ooh.
Yeah!
Ooh. This is a dead story. Imagine writing nearly 500,000 words for a story that you have worked on for the past 6 years, and then you drop it.
Maybe he became a school shooter.
Maybe his name's Sam Hyde.
That gives me an idea, though. I know what I can do with Harry Potter the Migrant Caravan. I can introduce a school shooter.
Please stop.
Is his name gonna be
We're
Sam
going to
Hyde?
get banned.
You have to make the school shooter Sam Hyde.
We're done. We're done here.
Chapter 3, $1 million of
Oh, hey,
extreme.
Calvin. You're joining us a bit late today, but hello.
You say, yeah, he's joining us at pretty much the end of the show.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine the possibilities of Harry Potter and memes. It's like you take a Polyjuice to turn into Sam Hyde, and then you shoot up the school.
You're done. That's it. No, just end the stream. End the stream before you say anything else stupid.
It's got to be Randy Stair.
Oh my god.
He's my favorite.
He had the high score?
Make sure they make a level in Doom about the caravan before they go.
Oh god. You missed some crazy shit, Calvin. Yeah, you did, Calvin. Damn it! Where did they go? If the Dominion hadn't shown up, we would have not succeeded. He said, frustrated, as the mission that they took was to retrieve Zelnaga. There's no way that's the correct spelling of artifact. Is that really the correct spelling of artifact? Well, I guess so. Fair enough. Fair enough, author. You win this time. Was being protected by Tal'Darim Protoss tribe. He had taken a medvac transport to escape the planet as the Zerg overran the Tal'Darim. Everything was going to plan. Even if Kerrigan did show up there, we would have made it out, but then the Dominion forces showed up all times. He hit the pilot chair in anger as he then heard alarm go off. Watch now, he said as he looked at the radar, seeing a small group of Dominion. Apparently this person really does not like the Dominion because they have yet to capitalize their name.
The Dominion doesn't deserve to be a real country.
You
nation?
are a real country!
I mean, technically they are just an insurgency.
I guess.
But I mean, so then does that make Raynor's government more legitimate or less legitimate?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that the government originated from a bunch of criminals wanted for murder, rape, and etc., and then the resulting governments overthrew the government previous to them through use of insurgency, and this has happened like 4 times now. I'm gonna say really no one's legitimate at this point, and it's pretty much anyone who has more guns. Is that all agreeable to everyone? More guns
I think
equals
that'll do.
legitimacy.
I'm in.
Okay. Dominion Vikings heading for him. Shit, how did they find me? You're in a medevac, not a stealth ship, dumbass. He then took the medvac to the closest planet.
What? Okay, last time I checked, medevacs were not capable of interplanetary transportation. They can't even handle surface to air, or air to space to ground.
What? No, they can be deployed from battleships.
Oh, but don't the battleships have to be in low orbit?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they can be in geosynchronous orbit and still deploy. That's like high orbit, but yeah, still. Because remember, the medevacs are still the drop ships of the StarCraft universe.
Yeah.
But why is it all? What the fuck? Why of all times does it have to be on Char?
Wait, what?
What? Wait. Apparently he was doing interplanetary travel with a medevac. Question mark.
Yeah. Like, that's a no-go.
I just... What? As they stared at the planet Kerrigan had made home. Pilot of Medvac, you are ordered... Hey, wait, the Vikings chased him?
Okay, maybe you could argue that the drop ships are, but a Viking is definitely not.
I am so confused.
Like, because here's the thing, right? If you're going to tell me they fit a jump drive into a Viking, I'm going to tell you that that is, like, mechanical engineering to make Ruby ashamed. Like, even the impossible space of Ruby weapons would be like, I'm sorry, that's just not going to fly.
Yeah, no. It's like, you need, like, a nuclear reactor to power that. And as far as I know, the medvacs run off of, like, actual fuel. Yes,
Well, not just the medevacs, the Vikings. The things that can transform into Gundams, essentially. And you're going to tell me they also fit a jump drive in there.
If you want to take over writing this, I have to hit the nature. Punch the nature in the face.
No, you know what? Hey, guest, you've got a better voice than I do and a less shitty mic. You read.
Oh, okay. What? Which line were we at?
I don't know. I wasn't paying any more attention than you were. That's part of the reason I asked you.
Oh man, no, I got lost in the crossfire of nuclear fission and all that. Hey,
Well, yeah, I was ranting. You expect me to pay attention to page numbers when I'm ranting?
Well, they arrived at Char, okay, and
Yeah.
Tosh then asked, where is my brother? And Kerrigan,
His brother, what?
No, his brother, not his brother.
Oh, of course, silly me.
Well, so where his brother went. And Kerrigan just waved her hand as a hunter-killer came forth with Jim on top of his scythe talons. Here he is, she answered, as the hunter-killer offered Jim to Tosh, which he took. Okay, let's go, Tosh.
Hold on a minute.
Holding on a minute.
Where did the hunter-killer come from? Also, why are they not just calling it a Hydralisk like a normal person?
That's a good question, because there's no punctuation in any of this paragraph. None whatsoever. Different people actually have dialogue throughout this paragraph. None of it is punctuated. There's no line breaks.
I know. I saw.
Yeah. It's just a complete mishmash.
And when did he get? He was being chased by the just to be sure we didn't miss too much. He's being chased by the
Yeah.
And then he's captured by a hunter killer and Kerrigan, and Tosh is there working with Kerrigan for some reason.
Yeah, they're in orbit of Char right now.
Right, but we don't know how they got there, why they're there.
No, the pilot lets them know they arrived, but you know that's unnecessary to know how they might have got there.
Right. Of course it is. We'll just trust the author.
Well, Kerrigan's back at her hive cluster. She's got her brood mothers, Abather, and her most deadly hunter-killer, the famous Razna. And they summoned all of them. And she wants her broods ready, and she's paying a visit to an old Confederate facility, because the South will rise again. And Abather in this facility, there are frozen eggs that belong to her from when she was human. Oh, so she's taking her human.
Excuse me. Why did they... Look, I know Arcturus Mensk is kind of a creep, but he's never been that big of a creep.
How did they get these?
Like, they kidnapped them as children. And, correct me if isn't part of the ghost process making them unable to have children?
To be completely honest with you, I played StarCraft 64 20-odd years ago, and that's the extent of my knowledge.
That's boy, that's a bold admission. You played StarCraft 64. I feel sorry for you.
I mean, I beat it.
Okay, I mean, I know people who beat Ride to Hell Retribution. That doesn't mean it was a good thing.
I never actually played very much of StarCraft 2. I sat down with it. A buddy of mine had it, and I played some missions, but I never actually went through StarCraft 2.
Good night, Pedro. I mean, it's decent enough. Some of the missions have some pretty fun gimmicks. But here's the thing. Honestly, play Wings of Liberty just to get to Heart of the Swarm, because that has some of the best cutscenes Blizzard's done pretty much forever, I think. Because, spoiler, Kerrigan kills Mengsk.
Oh, no!
And boy, is that a great cutscene.
Yeah, no, they do make beautiful. Although Overwatch, I'm starting to get graded on because they feel too much like fucking Pixar movies anymore. I can't get into the Overwatch cutscenes now.
Well, A, cutscenes, that's a great way to put it. B, yeah, honestly, here's the thing. I hate it when they do the character introduction ones, because those ones are dumb and they're kitschy and they're trying to make the new character look as badass as the rest of them. Like, I love the ones where they're like, hey, we're going to show you more about this character. Like the Reinhardt one. Like, that was amazing.
I don't even think I watched that one. The last one, I've seen Genji's, I've seen, I think, Winston.
Have you seen the Mei one?
I don't think so.
Ooh,
I don't know.
That one's pretty good.
And then I watched the newest. The Ash one was terrible. I was so bored.
Oh, it was so bad. And here's the thing. I was way more interested in the robot that McCree's waking up and apparently
because he's
hooking up
basically
with.
Robot Barrett from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yeah. But
he looks literally just like him.
Here's the thing. I'm still way more interested in what's going on between McCree and that robot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wish you were playing as the robot. Captain Calvin says the only good games for 64 are GoldenEye, Pilotwings, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Kart. You forgot Blast Corps, you forgot Paper Mario, you forgot Mischief Makers.
You forgot Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, you forgot Ocarina, Majora's Mask. You forgot Jet Force Gemini, Banjo-Kazooie. I could literally go on all fucking day. But barring that, I have to read this line because they're back on board Kerrigan's Leviathan. And just verbatim, it says, "Let's go," Kerrigan announced to the small swarm of Zerg as they began to travel to the facility that she told them. "Once I get my eggs, I can impregnate them with Jimmy's DNA and then fuse it with a special virus, placing it in a chrysalis, and I would have basically conceived a child with him," she said to herself contently, which a small smile appeared across her lips.
That's not... No. Kerrigan, no. Bad Kerrigan.
She could scan the facility with her mind to find the storage room where all female ghost eggs are kept. They just have an area for that.
I mean, as creepy as it is for the Dominion to do it, I kind of get why they do that, because as far as we know, psychic potential is genetic in the StarCraft universe. So I get why they do it.
Remember when Ghost was going to be a game and it just never came out?
I actually would have liked to play that game.
No, it would have been cool. I remember being excited for it. She kills a bunch of people. She does some anime shit. She grunted as she waved her hand and the bullets stopped in the air, were sent back to the Marines, killing them. Weak, she stated as she then began heading to the cold storage room.
Why is she suddenly a Jedi?
Right? I don't know. Can Kerrigan do this in the game?
I mean, we've seen her... I don't even know if deflect bullets is the right word, but like, she can project a psychic field that stops the bullets from hitting her. Basically, she just puts up a psychic wall. And I mean, we've seen her shoot like psychic lightning and fly. But I'm pretty sure like actual Jedi powers. No, that's never.
Well,
been
according to Fanfiction Dragon, she can.
Excellent. The most authoritative lore source Blizzard has.
Yes.
I mean, let's be real. Honestly, with how bad Blizzard is at respecting their own lore, it's a 50-50.
Mr. Fanfiction Dragon has confirmed that she does indeed have Jedi powers. Abathur, she called, and soon enough Abathur arrived at the cold storage room, awaiting her command. I want you to check both of these eggs. Are they mine? No punctuation, she commands, which he then began to check the eggs with one of his hands. They are yours, my queen. Before you were infested, he spoke, gurgling. How does he know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could check for the DNA because you never met Abathur. He comes along in part of the swarm. He's basically the head geneticist for the swarm.
Okay, so maybe he's capable of this.
Well, like we have seen him rapidly in cutscenes or in game at least rapidly deconstruct like entire organisms and like, all right, that's it. I know their genetic code.
I am back, and I would like to point out that the entire time Jorp has read this story, I couldn't tell if he was having me on or was legitimately reading a fanfiction.
No, he was reading it. He was legitimately reading it.
This is verbatim.
Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, you weren't kidding. This is actually how he wrote. 400 people liked this?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, it's a beautiful story of conception and evolution. She then explains her entire plan once again, not a couple paragraphs later.
I want you all to listen to this. Thank you. That's the sound of another beer being opened.
Excellent. I got a nice bottle of scotch I gotta open up. I met a buddy in Georgia, and he. You what?
Abathur is a really weird creature that can like basically touch DNA and look at DNA by just looking at a dead body. So yeah, I guess.
No, I thought he had to at least like eat them or something.
No, there's just straight up just like if a single Zerg in the swarm like comes into contact with new DNA, he's able to diagnose it.
That's hot.
But I want you to rip Jimmy's DNA out of Jimmy so we can then insert it into the egg.
Kerrigan, I'm pretty sure if you just ask Jimmy nicely, he'll oblige.
Also, I do like how she gets this whole idea to like conceive a child using DNA from her eggs and Jim because she's like, Jim's unconscious here. OMG, Jim also had son with psionic powers. I'm gonna have a kid with super psionic powers if I take his DNA. Also, now I want to subject you all to the idea that Abathur got Jim's DNA by giving him a blowjob. Just so you have that mental image in your head now.
He doesn't even have a mouth.
Yeah, he does. Vagina or whatever.
I love the sheer lack of punctuation in this whole story
like
is just so beautiful.
Thing.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that is technically a mouth.
Yeah, just stick it right on in there.
Holy shit, you're not kidding. There's 98 chapters.
Yeah. Like, imagine putting this much work into a story and then just dropping it. Which, to be fair, he completely deserves to drop this story because it's garbage, but...
I skipped ahead to chapter 97, and actually he did learn punctuation at some point. I'm actually impressed. Wait, never mind. No, he didn't. That was just a fluke.
Oh, unfortunate. Wow. Wow, you weren't even kidding about the whole part where a hunter-killer comes forward with Jim to tell Josh that Jim is here.
Yeah, no.
I thought, if anything, that was the joke part. You were not kidding about a single bit of what happened in this story.
No, this is verbatim.
God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. No, there is no grammar in this story. There is no punctuation, capitalization. There is. Oh my God. Sweet God. Why? Oh, wow.
And the thing is, you expect somebody who's like this involved in StarCraft lore to at least be of some kind of reasonable intelligence and/or education of the English language. I mean, I guess I'm wrong in that assumption, but
I mean, it's like, you would hope so, because a lot of the really good lore of StarCraft comes from the books, so you would at least hope they've read something before and would at least recognize how the English language is to be used in a written work. But look, I work at a place, and I do things at that place, and
do you now?
The stories I have from there of people losing their security badges by flushing them down the toilet, and the question there is like, why was it in the toilet in the first place?
Wait, no. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's the thing. I can understand how it might, like, you know, maybe you have a little lanyard on your belt or something, and you're not paying attention and you knock it in. Okay, fine. How do you not, like, at some point, just glancing down and go, oh, that shouldn't be there?
Well, I mean, the damn thing floats, so, like...
That's my point. I'm like, how do you not at some point just look down and go,
Like, we had one guy, a couple days ago, lose his entire badge, like, badge, case, strap that connects it to him, everything. Like, the entire thing is just ruined, right? Because he left it inside a thermal regulation plant as it went through a thermal cycle, which is 150 degrees Celsius to negative 150 degrees Celsius or some shit like that.
How stupid can you be?
And I'm just sitting there like, why did you put it in there in the first place? Like, it was one of those things that, like, snaps onto your shirt, and it's not coming off anytime soon. So it's not like it fell off. Like, he took it off, put it down inside it, forgot about it somehow, and then closed the door and started the cycle.
That's pretty damn dumb.
But yeah, people are dumb. Just write way too many sins. No, I'm just gonna keep this encounter going until we end tonight. Because we're gonna end with this fic. This fic is gonna be our last one because I'm just angry now. I'm not even like amusingly angry. I'm just angry now from this not even autistic levels of stupid. Like legitimately like non-functional levels of stupid that had to occur to allow this story to exist the way it does. And Kerrigan's like fantasizing about Jim once when he meets his new daughter that she stole the DNA from him for. And then the chrysalis accelerated the daughter to be 4 years old within 2 hours. And let's see, 5 months later, Kerrigan never left Char ever again once the chrysalis was made. And then she's talking to the chrysalis. Mangsk, she growled as her areola flyer were quick to engage the Dominion ships and transports heading towards the surface of Char. Reznov, she shouted, summoning Cthulhu, appeared in front of her. Gather your hunters and spread out and take as many Zerglings as you want with you, she ordered him, which he nodded and went off to gather his brothers to fight and protect the Chrysalis. 3 hours later, blah blah blah. Apparently, somehow the Dominion figured out she was making a child, and they just decided to randomly attack her. Which I would also like to point out that the only reason why the original attack on Char even remotely worked is because it was literally the entirety of the Terran species fleets, like Raynor's Raiders, the Dominion, and like Rogue Confederacy that joined up with one of the two, showed up on Char to just like fucking annihilate an entire area so they could land. Like, and then they use a Zelnaga relic to literally annihilate entire floods of Zerg. So I mean, you know, it's.
And again, the only reason they was because they annihilated hordes of Zelnaga or hordes of Zerg with a Zelnaga artifact, which then forced Kerrigan to come out.
Not made up,
so,
Calvin.
So that they could unzerg her.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it worked, because they unzerged her.
And then all the Zerg were like, "We're not going to attack you anymore," even though we
well,
no
no,
longer
it's
have
just
a
that the person running the show was suddenly gone.
Yeah, and then they
left. Then they left Sneak. Because think about it. It killed all the Zerg in the immediate area, and the head, you know, there was no one to like herd the next fresh batch up, except for a bunch of like maybe a bunch of queens, but they'd all be individually trying to coordinate it.
Oh wait, no, that's what it was. So what happened is that pre-de-infestation, Queen Bitch of the Universe decided to centralize power and like didn't do an overmind, so made all of her minions basically slaved loyalty to her.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
now I'm remembering like why that even worked in the first place.
Yeah,
because I was remembering Heart of Swarm Zerg, where Kerrigan was like, "I'm just gonna give a shit ton of Broodmother's personalities and shit, so like we don't have a failure of command again."
Well, I mean, even still, the queens could still run the show.
Like,
it's just.
But only even, like a hive at a time back then. Like that's what the Broodmothers were.
I know. I'm just saying that's the whole reason it worked, because the head was cut off. There was no one to replace the head, and all the Zerg in the immediate area were dead. So it's like, oh, okay, time for us to leave.
But yeah, anyway, so Manx tries to attack Char, and she kills them all. And and then the birth happens in the middle of battle.
Sorry, this is just messing with me so much, because every time you say Char, I keep thinking we're talking about Gundam. Like, I'm always like, no, this is StarCraft. A half second, but I'm like, I keep thinking we're talking about Gundam.
Anyway, so point being is that the trope of being born in the middle of a battle occurs, and then the 4-year-old pops out of the chrysalis, and then Manx retreats.
Staggerly.
Walked staggerly, like a stag. Out having to use her legs for the first time. Kerrigan looked at the girl. She had same amount of armored skin and color, same glowing yellow eyes, the same dress. Okay, so the girl's infested with Zerg DNA. Wait. Back the fuck up. I thought the whole point of using non-infected Kerrigan DNA and non-infected Jim DNA was to create a non-infected baby. Like that was the whole point. Like
no. She just needed the eggs because she couldn't have a kid. She still wanted an infested kid.
Okay, so she took non-infested DNA, combined it to make a kid, then infested that DNA, then
to make a tiny her.
Yeah, but wait a second. Like, the whole problem was earlier she was like, it can only accelerate 4 years or whatever because she's not infested. Of anything being infested, but a developing child. Wait, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, Chrysalis. So it was infested. The chrysalis accelerates the rate of growth and development of anything being infested, but the development of a child takes at least 4 years for the chrysalis. Okay, so she's a 4-year-old after being infested, and then she's like, "Mommy!" And then Kerrigan walked away with a smaller version of her in her arms.
Yes, that would seem to be the case.
Yep. Okay. So we got a new person actually in the audience here, and how such a lack of everything ever moved beyond first chapter? Are you talking about the story or us? As far as the story goes, I have no idea. I have no idea how exactly they even managed to come up with a concept to move beyond the first chapter with. Because apparently they came up with a 500,000 words to move past the first chapter with, which I'm exceedingly confused about. Meant the story, yeah. I honestly don't know. There's a reason why we normally stick to the first chapter, because that's typically how much we can tolerate of these fics. But yeah, I don't know sometimes how these first chapters go. Sometimes I am just left absolutely stunned with how the authors even managed to get word counts this high. I honestly don't know. How do you write a 500,000 word series based off of family drama of your... How do you explain this from Jim's point of view? So you crash landed on a planet and your ex-girlfriend stole your DNA to make a child with, but that child is also part of a species bent on genocidal destruction of the universe. How do you write a family drama about that?
Because, like, here's the thing, right? Jim spends all... The entire reason
Hey,
StarCraft
Zara.
2 happened is because Jim is like, I have got to fix this.
Yeah,
That's the entire reason it happens. Jim's like, this is not okay.
Yeah, I honestly, yeah. I don't think you could write canonical... Like, I don't think you can write StarCraft 2 and have it be more than 150k words. Honestly. It's... I mean, maybe the battles might beef up the word count a lot, but if you, like, take out the battles, I don't think you're gonna have more than 150k words. I don't think you're gonna have more than 50k words outside of the battles. In some parts of the galaxy, you can call that rape. I mean... forcefully seizing the DNA of production to reproduce a child? Yeah, you could call that rape in theory. Try harder than the output of a Big Bang compressing into something Brian Griffin would write out when he was on drugs. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
we're done here.
I do want to introduce you, Atin, to as he's known here as Soka, but as he's known on the Discord and Space Battles as Zarlan. Zarlan? Yeah, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. He's the guy that ended that conversation I had about why Essence of Silver and Steel is a terrible fanfic. He also writes, I don't know how to put this, basically canon breaking stories, where he's mostly at this point right now it's Taylor into X World post Golden Morning. But he also got a Sword Art Online Campione fic, which is very amusing. His most recently updated fic is the Taylor is Arturia from Fate Stay. That universe is Arturia. Taylor is Othario. It very heartwarming, family friendly comfort fic. I guess you could call it that. But no, I would find it interesting if he could hop on here at some time, do an interview, talk about his stories. I know Space Battles is a little bit of a deviation from the normal section we cover, but with his permission, I think we're.
I would say I don't
rock
really
solid.
care. I mean,
You don't really care? Is that how you feel?
that it's from Space Battle, like.
Oh well, yeah, I know, but normally we can't cover Space Battles and Sufficient
Right,
Velocity
right.
stuff because it's really gray area about if we're able to cover that sort of thing. How do you write canon-breaking stories? Calvin asks. With the help of fuck canon, tit sucking, and fuck fake conflict. Yeah, no, there is no fake conflict in Zaraland stories. there is no idiot ball producing fake conflict.
And I think any story is better with a little tit sucking.
I mean, you should read Noodlehammer then. There's a lot of that in Noodlehammer.
The name's got me already. Noodle Hammer, huh?
Yeah, he writes Naruto fic that transitioned into a multi-crossover Naruto fic in which Naruto, post his original Naruto fic, went around and fucked a bunch of women and kicked the shit out of a lot of people. It was good times. Not so much the fucking part, as I really don't care for those parts, but
Is it Sekre? Is that some new species of little sister?
that was his final story for the Naruto series. Yeah, you want to go in order of the
Anyway,
oldest at the
we're
bottom.
past the time for the show to end.
But yeah. So see you next time, everyone. Tomorrow, next time is going to be the Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So that's going to be your normal 7:30 p.m. Start time, as I do have a 12-hour day. So I will be a little bit late as always to that one, and we will be going till 9 Eastern Standard. See you all. See you all next time.
Catch EastEnders on the BBC.
See you all next time.